I think everyone's here. So just wanted to say a warm welcome to everyone. Thanks very much for giving up your time to come to today's webinar, where we're going to be talking you through the exciting relaunch of Polymotion Chat, and specifically talking today about our Polymotion Chat Pro product. So the run through today, we're just going to talk you through a little bit about who we are as MRMC, an overview of the Polymotion Chat Pro solution, and then at the end, we're going to showcase a demonstration of the product before we come to the end, which will be a chance for anyone on the call to basically ask any questions that you might have about what you've seen today. So just before we go into the details of the presentation, just wanted to introduce you to everyone who's going to be speaking today. Paddy Taylor is our head of broadcast. He'll be taking you through Polymotion Chat Pro solution, giving you an overview of what it is. We have Sasha, who's going to be doing the product demonstration later. He's our broadcast services director. I'm Dan Brooks. I'm the head of marketing here at MRMC. And we also have Gilbert as well, who's our broadcast project manager, who's assisting with some of the behind the scenes stuff as well. So just before we delve into Polymotion Chat Pro, I just wanted to give you a quick overview of MRMC. So MRMC, we're a marketing lead company for B2B solutions for camera robotics, automated capture and virtual content across a number of different verticals. We're the leading manufacturers of a number of cutting edge solutions for motion control. We're most known for our Milo and our Bolt Cinebot. Our broadcast robotics, such as our broadcast heads, our arms, our studio robots, and our tracking technology and our automation. We also have Polymotion Stage, which is our volumetric capture solution, as well as focusing on remote image capture. So we have everything really from film, TV, live broadcast to e-commerce solutions, and we help our clients really realize their vision through a groundbreaking suite of innovative hardware and software. So over the years, we've been around since 1966. Over that period, we've coveted a number of awards. We won an Academy Award back in 1999 in the science and engineering category for the creation of our Milo rig. In 2017, we won the Queen's Award for Enterprise for International Trade and Enterprise. And over the last few years, we've picked up some highly coveted industry awards, such as the Broadcast Tech Award, SVG and NAB awards for some of our products and solutions. And as mentioned, we were acquired by Nikon in 2016. So really through our partnership with Nikon, obviously we've been able to grow and expand the MRMC business. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to play you a promo all about MRMC, so that will tell you a little bit about who we are and what we're all about, and just give you a bit of a further understanding of our company. So that was obviously all about MRMC. Now I'm going to hand you over to Paddy, who's going to talk to you about an overview of Polymotion Chat Pro solution. You're on mute, Paddy.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks for pointing that out as well. Thanks everyone for joining us. I appreciate your time. So I run the broadcast team. My job is to sort of introduce you to the product. I think it's important for everyone to understand that actually this isn't new technology, Polymotion Chat. It's something we've had for a while, the sort of camera automation, sort of camera tracking solutions. And the idea really is to give you that introduction to the product so you understand it. If we could move on to the next slide. So the important bit to understand is it's not new tech. It's been around for almost 3 years. It's designed to be extremely easy to use, to be as flexible as possible, so it can be introduced to pretty much any workflow. We will talk a little bit more about what those workflows are and how it would fit into them and how it would be used and deployed. But I think what I'd like to do is start with a sort of marketing video. This is something that is publicly available for anyone to have a look at. But if we can play that now, and then we can dive into the product.
Polymotion Chat is an automated subject tracking system
Gilbert.
for studios.
That's the wrong video. This should just be the... Oh, sorry, that is the right video. That's me being an idiot. Play it again, sorry.
Polymotion Chat is an automated subject tracking system for studios that can control up to 6 camera positions autonomously. Chat integrates with your existing studio system, as well as all major broadcast cameras, such as Sony, Grass Valley, and Panasonic, and is compatible with most heads and PTZs. The system is also able to be operated fully remotely by a single operator. Whether your requirements are for the newsroom, sports desk, standing presenter formats, or magazine-style shows, Polymotion Chat can help streamline your workflow and provide crisp, in-focus, natural-looking shots. The user interface has been designed with simplicity in mind and allows the user to automate as much or as little of the shots as required. An operator always has manual control whenever they need. From aperture, zoom, focus, and framing, the manual capability of the UI to control each remote head is always at the fingertips of the operator. Things get interesting when you introduce motion. From a product presentation to a large studio space where a presenter moves around, advanced facial recognition and tracking in our UI handles things with ease. All of this whilst a sophisticated autofocus system keeps things sharp and distraction-free. Limits can also be set so that if the subject moves out of the studio space, the camera simply stops following and returns to its default position. The operator can even work with presets to quickly assemble the right look and feel of a specific scene. To create a preset, the operator simply creates a camera move, shot type, or set of tracking notes and pushes a single button to store all the information. It is then available instantly whenever needed. The system is simple, powerful, and is operated via touchscreen or joystick, depending on preference. And at any time, the operator can take control of the camera behavior. They have access to all the cameras at any time on the set via an easy-to-use interface. The software is also able to recognize multiple people and is configured to adapt to multiple subject tracking scenarios. For example, talk shows, news interviews, live presentations, and so much more. The advanced AI recognizes multiple people in a single frame easily. The interface offers a multitude of tracking controls that allows you to select either single person or multiple subjects for the shot. With the touch of a button, our operator can then switch between cameras on set from a simple grid view system, allowing for remote adjustments, both manual and automatic, for each shot. No matter where your broadcast takes place, from sports, news, house of worship, lectures, and other productions, Polymotion Chat can help drive your workflow efficiencies for your studio or production today.
Great, so if we can return back to the PowerPoint. So you'll have seen from that video, got a mixture of robotics being demonstrated. I think one of the crucial things to understand about the system is it was initially developed to augment Mark Roberts MRMC's own robotic solutions. And we have plenty of customers using it today using our AFC heads and other products. But we found more and more customers wanting to use it with third-party systems. And we really want to be open. So we support third-party pan-tilt robotic heads, and we support industry protocols like Visca over IP. And really crucially, we want to and actively do support third-party PTZ. So we see we've got Panasonic and Sony's highlighted here, but actually we've been doing a lot of work with companies like BirdDog, PTZ Optics, JVC, and that's really important to us. Is the idea is this fits in and works with customer systems, and it should fit into an existing workflow. It isn't designed for someone to build a system around a tool. So as you can see from the signal paths here, principally we're working with Ethernet. We're showing, in this case, an SDI signal path as well to the Polymotion Chat server, and also a broadcast control panel, which is one of our control panels. But we are supporting third-party control panels. But most customers, because the whole point of the software is to take the place of the operator sitting behind the joystick, actually don't need anything. And if they do need to make minor adjustments, they can do that within the touch screen of the software, making it really cost effective, really easy and really flexible. And the interface, and we'll obviously show it in a bit more detail shortly, really lends itself to that. So as we just go very quickly into the interface, the idea is that pretty much anyone who's ever seen a PTZ camera and control platform will understand it. You've got a joystick controller, you've got your zoom and focus options, you've got the ability to frame your subject, and you've got data coming back from the camera. In this case, you can see we've got some tracking overlay, which we'll talk about a bit more when we get actually into the software of the actual details of the sort of interface of the product. But one of the crucial things, this is built on MHC, our multi-head control platform, and Polymotion Chat is essentially the automated tracking element of that. And the really crucial thing for us as we developed it was to make it as easy as possible for people to use, but also to be flexible. So, we've been testing with customers now for a few weeks, getting this version ready. And one of the things that we've discovered that surprised us was the number of customers that have 2 or more different types of PTZ. So they want to control a Panasonic and a BirdDog, or a Sony and a PTZ Optics. And actually, that's pretty difficult to do, because normally they would use the Panasonic software to control the Panasonic camera, or the PTZ Optics software to control the PTZ Optics camera. And actually, if you want something that controls all of those, your choices are pretty limited. And so the software has been sort of developed to make that a pretty simple process. I mentioned before that this is a kind of new version. We've been selling it for some time. And actually, we have 3 versions of the product. So this is Polymotion Chat Pro that we're specifically talking about today. But we also have some existing product that's been selling for some time called Polymotion Chat Studio, and then a top tier product called Polymotion Chat Broadcast. Polymotion Chat Broadcast is aimed at your sort of top tier broadcasters, where they'll be using complex robotics with various robotic style moves, things like maybe track pedestals or robotic arms. That's one of the things that we're best known for. Polymotion Chat Studio is a sort of mid-tier product. So this is where customers are dedicated video professionals, perhaps small studios, maybe TV stations, production companies that don't have complex robotics. So, maybe something like a simple rail system or a pan tilt head. And then Polymotion Chat Pro, where actually we call it Pro because it will be used professionally. But the difference here is that we're solving a problem for customers where they're looking for a way to track, to control the PTZ cameras, to follow their subjects, but they don't have a dedicated person to do that. So, education, house of worship, corporate customers, any of those environments where, the question is who's going to do that job? Polymotion Chat Pro is the product for that. So I want to touch a bit more on the sort of key points about it. So the idea is it's low cost. We deliberately marketed it, positioned it at around the same sort of price as a PTZ camera. When a customer considers it, they won't be surprised at its proposition. So that's an important factor for us, is to make it cost effective. It's designed to work for up to 3 cameras. So a lot of cases customers will just use it with one camera. But again, here with the studio product, we sell it as a turnkey. With Polymotion Chat Pro, it's software. So you install it on your own computer. It needs to meet the minimum specifications, but they're not particularly complicated. And then essentially you can control up to 3 cameras as long as your computer has the capability of doing that. The movement is designed to be natural and the same as you would expect from a manual operator, human operator. So again, some of the systems that are out there today, particularly sort of AI style cameras, are very robotic in the way that they move. You can tell that a computer's doing that. Now, this is something that's been around, as I said, for about 3 years. We spent a long time during that. A lot of work has been put into making the system extremely robust, reliable, but also very smooth. So it really does replicate that human move. Again, I mentioned it, but it's important to remind you that it's open, so it works with pretty much any third-party camera, and we're open to working with any brand. So if a protocol is not already supported by the system straight out of the box, then we're happy to look at the APIs for other vendors as well and add support for that. And then we briefly mentioned the optional hardware control. We have our own range, but also the idea is to support third parties in that area. So if the customer has their own controller already or wants to look at having a low-cost third-party controller, the aim is to support as many of those as possible. What we want to do now is really to demonstrate the product to you. Originally, before COVID, our intention here was to really invite people in, take you into one of the studios that's been using the system for some time, and give you a chance to get perhaps even a bit hands-on with the system. Obviously, with COVID, like lots of things, that's not really been possible. So actually, what we've done is we've shot a video in one of our customer studios, but also this is designed to be a sort of demonstration of the product. But if you notice in the little video preview windows, you may have noticed that my colleague Sasha at the moment isn't seated. He's actually using a Panasonic PTZ as a webcam, and he's being tracked with the software at the moment. So I think we wanted to demonstrate the fact that the software is really easy to use. There's loads of different applications for it, and it isn't that we didn't want to demonstrate the product to you, but we wanted to show it in a proper professional environment, studio environment, which is why I went to London live to shoot this video, which I'm now going to ask Gilbert to play.
Polymotion Chat Pro is a camera automation software using advanced AI to keep your talent in shot. So all the motion that you see the camera doing here is actually driven by our software and automation layer, which I'm going to be demonstrating and talking to you about in a bit more detail. The software is designed to allow you to move around the stage freely, or your talent, and for them to be followed. It's very similar to what's happening here, allowing you to have a really easy dynamic shot, or not really having to worry about where your camera is pointing, or even about the operator, because the software and AI will take care of all of this for you. So as I move around the studio, the camera keeps me in shot, keeps me framed, and there's a whole host of automation options that can make this possible. So let me show you a little bit about the interface how the control works, some of the options, the auto framing, and the use cases, particularly how they apply to houses of worship, theaters and lecture halls, for example, universities and education, as well as corporate shows or events where you're giving a presentation about things like Polymotion Chat Pro. All right, let me take you to the interface. So this is our interface designed to be easy to use, and you can train somebody up on this very, very quickly. We have help features that allow you to see what each of the buttons do and what they are. Easy to press, always there to be reminded of what the interface is all about. And I'm going to show you some of these features. Polymotion Chat Pro is designed for up to 3 cameras, and they can be controlled manually or through the automation software. So on the bottom here, bottom left, we have an on-screen joystick. So you can use a touchscreen interface to reposition the camera where it's pointing. You can use a gamepad controller, such as an Xbox controller, or a broadcast level joystick panel. So we support a whole host of options there. You have full control over zoom and focus, both down here with velocity, so you can just zoom in and out, or you can adjust your focus on cameras that don't have autofocus. And you can see the position on that side of the screen as they move around. So if I move closer, you can see that those options are moving and the zoom will adjust automatically. As I move further away, the zoom will do that too. And you can order this manually. So right above us, here you have 3 cameras being connected that you can control, and you can actually switch between those, or you can see the other option. There you go. You could also see all 3 cameras on a multi-view, which is on that very side on the screen. So click there, and you have all 3 cameras that we have in the studio at the moment, where you can see them. You click on one just to see what's happening there and to change its settings. So this is a PTZ, and we support third-party PTZs, not only MRMC Robotics, but also PTZ heads by Panasonic, Sony, BirdDog, PTZ Optics, or any other PTZ manufacturer that you may have. We support a variety of communication protocols as well. So whatever you've got, we'll be able to support it. Now, let's go back to the interface, and I can show you a little bit more about how it works. I've shown you the manual control. Now let's look at the tracking and the computer vision engine. So this is where the magic really happens, because this is where automation lives within Polymotion Chat Pro. So at the moment, we have this PTZ head being controlled and a green tracking indicator underneath it showing that tracking is activated. So you can see that I'm being tracked here, and you may have noticed this already from earlier, but my body is being overlaid with the skeletal overlay and the yellow dots, showing you that the computer vision engine is aware of where I am as a person. It doesn't require my face. So I can cover my face. There's no facial tracking. It is a feature that we are going to introduce to give you other options for automation. But at the moment, I can turn around, right on my right board, or show you a presentation. And I don't have to worry that the camera will lose me. It will continue to track me no matter where I am or where I'm looking. All right, let's have a look. So talked a little bit about the CV engine and its capabilities and the automatic framing options, that you can switch through this little interface here. You can also obviously take over manual control at any time. So you may not, always want to be in automated tracking. And for example, camera 1 at the moment isn't in a tracking mode, and we've just switched off tracking on this one and taken over manual control. So this is where an operator can then reframe and to get the shot that you really desired at that moment. And you may want that static shot. So, and then if we go back into normal tracking, talking about the static shot, yeah, let's go there, good, and switch on normal mode, please. You can also define the areas in which the tracking occurs. So let's say you want a static shot if I'm standing here, and even if I'm moving slightly, you don't want the camera to move. We can actually increase the zones where no motion will occur. So let's do that. Yeah, there you go. That's getting slightly bigger and maybe slightly taller. Good. And then only when I move out of that larger circle will it try to reposition me into that inner circle or that inner static zone. So if I move here, for example, now it will come and just really gently get me into that. So that gives you the capability to do a static shot, but adding motion when it's necessary and the presenter moves out of that framing and keeping up with them now. So there you go, it's coming back into framing. You can reduce that, you can make it larger. And this is particularly valuable when you're doing sort of, seated shots. So I'm going to sit down. have that camera track me. And then if you wanted to do an interview situation where you have a tight camera and you don't want to have to worry about, having that really, really tight shot and somebody moving and losing framing, you can just use the Polymotion Chat Pro in this instance, again, using computer vision to track somebody automatically as they're moving around. Or maybe I'm on the sofa here and I actually like this bit a bit better, so I'm going to go here and just reposition myself, or I'm not particularly trained. The camera will just follow where I'm looking, what I'm doing, and just keep me in that shot without having to worry about where we're going. So I hope you enjoyed that. That's Polymotion Chat Pro, a solution for houses of worship, corporate events, corporate presentations, education, universities, lectures, and also theaters that can very simply automate your cameras, your framing, and allowing you to achieve a really high value production.
Okay. So hopefully you found that useful, found this a useful introduction to the product. We can make these videos available after this presentation if you would find that useful. But we wanted to open up now and see if you had any questions about the system. Okay, so we've got a question about price point. Obviously, feel free to use the chat if you want to ask questions using that, if you don't want to speak directly. Yeah, I mentioned actually that it was a similar price to a PTZ camera. So it is priced at £2,500 list for Polymotion Chat Pro, which we equate to be €3,000 or $4,000. So roughly in line with a sort of fairly low cost PTZ. There's certainly many more expensive PTZs on the market. But the idea being that even if you're using quite low cost PTZ cameras, that the price point is something similar. So a question on uses of Polymotion Chat Pro. Actually, we have customers using it today. So we opened a beta program as we developed the new interface to develop it from the existing products. And we have, I think, over 30 people signed up to that beta program. And most of those are actually using that in one form or another live. Added to that, as I said, we have lots of customers using it in many other applications, from TV studios, small production studios, education, comedy clubs, corporate. There's lots of customers using the Polymotion engine already. It's only really the Polymotion Chat version, which is the simplified, lower cost version, that's new. So yeah, we have a lot of customers already. Any more questions? As I said, feel free to use the chat. Okay. Sasha, do you want to take this question on the differences between the products?
Absolutely. So the existing Polymotion Chat product has been used in studios throughout the world. However, we've developed the Polymotion Chat Pro tier within the product to simplify the operation and give houses of worship, universities, and lecture halls additional control over the PTZs and allow them to automate those cameras in a software-only version, so they can run this product on their own hardware. And we support a whole number of different NVIDIA graphics cards and CPU options, which basically makes the barrier to entry very low, or actually removes the barrier to entry for the necessity to have highly dedicated turnkey hardware. And in fact, this product adds really simple motion to those PTZs.
Any more questions? So the main USP really is the fact that it takes control. So from the demonstration, hopefully it was clear that essentially you select your subject, and that's all you need to do. Once that's set, no one needs to sit behind the control panel. We've had a lot of customers. We've had customers that have bought Polymotion Chat Studio, which we sell as a turnkey for £15,000, who really Polymotion Chat Pro was the right product for them. They just didn't have it. And really all they're looking for is someone to, well, not they don't have someone to control the cameras. So that's the key thing, is you have an automated system to take away the heavy lifting to control your PZ cameras. You can leave it entirely unattended, and it will just sit there tracking your subjects. It doesn't have the same issues as third-party systems. So there's lots of systems out there that do tracking, that work on facial tracking, as we demonstrated in the video. With facial tracking, the system can stop when it loses the face. We don't have that problem. Because we use machine vision, we generate this stick model tracking the limbs. We are extremely reliable, which means that an operator, once they've set it up, which takes a few minutes to do, they hit the track button, that's it. So for a house of worship or an education or a corporate customer, they don't need to have somebody running the system, sitting there on standby all the time, or running around trying to find someone to control the PTZ cameras. The software does it for you. Thank you for the question. Any more questions?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that in fact, the system's been tracking me the entire time, and even if I'm sitting in my chair, the webcam just follows me really nicely, as you may have seen earlier. So I've been using that running in the background without any human interaction, and it's just been doing its thing and keeping me in frame. And if you notice from when I stood up to sitting down, it's actually reframed me automatically in that scenario as well. This is particularly relevant to houses of worship, I think, where sometimes you have volunteer operators that don't necessarily know really how to do it, how to operate the system, and what professional motion looks like, so we can take care of that and assist them in creating that high value production that they want to put out time and time again.
Great, thank you, Sasha. Any more questions for anyone? Okay, I should say we're very open to arranging a one-to-one demonstration if you want to see it again at another time. Also, if you want to get a copy of this or any of the videos that we presented today, we're very happy to do that, and very happy to take any other questions you might think of by email or any other format. So bear that in mind, and I'd just like to say thank you very much for your time. We do appreciate it, and hopefully this has been useful to you. All right, thank you very much. I think we'll end it there.